Welcome to this daily astrology chat live for January 26th, 2025. Today I wanted to talk about all of these planets lining up in the sky, visible just after dusk, just after sunset, that I've been hearing so much about. And I just wanted to take a look at that in the chart and talk about the astrological significance of it, which might be a little bit different than you would expect. So if you've been here before, you may notice that this looks a little bit different today. I'm using a different program. So instead of having the chart open today, good morning, Miss Tell. Um, Instead of having this chart open in my video editing software, I have it open in Astro Gold, which is the astrology, some of the astrology software that I use. I use Solar Fire as well. But I want to be able to animate the chart. I want to be able to move it forward and backwards. So we're going to go an hour at a time. Let's go back to where we are. Here we are right now. So let's sort of talk about what it is we're seeing here first. That's first and foremost. So we have our sun right here. Sun is in Aquarius. And as I'm making this video, it is sunrise. It's sunrise. And so the sun is right on the horizon. Okay, this line right here, we can think of as the horizon. Think of it as the beginning of the first house and the end of the sixth. Everything that's below it is below the horizon. Everything that's above is above the horizon. Now, that's not completely accurate. That is a gross generalization to the point that it's inaccurate, but I don't want to try so hard to say the whole story here that it gets confusing, because I think being able to kind of picture the chart is really helpful. And sometimes we don't take enough time to do this, I feel, as astrologers. So what the chart is a picture of the sky right now, right? And this is everything that's above the horizon, and this is everything that's below. And it moves and it shifts. Okay, so as we move ahead, we see an hour from now, the sun is above the horizon, right? And we'll continue to move through the sky. Around 11:30, we're at the top of the chart. Okay, and after sunset, which is when this great planetary alignment was occurring, let's get there. Let's get the sun below the horizon. Okay, so we have the sun below the horizon. So check this out, right? So pretty much many of the planets happen to be in the sky at this time, right? So it also happens to be a dark sky because the moon is below the horizon. So we have no sun, no moon in the sky, but we do have a ton of planets. And these are the planets that you could see. From what I understand, you could see Saturn and Venus and Neptune and Uranus with a telescope and Jupiter and Mars. And that basically has to do with the fact that, they're all above the horizon at that time. I think it may, I'm not 100% sure of this, but I think it might also have something to do with the fact that a lot of these planets are near a retrograde, because when a planet is retrograde, it's the closest to Earth. So Mars is retrograde right now, and Venus and Mercury are about to be, but I don't think it's necessarily about that. It's really just the fact that the sun and the moon were below the horizon, and here were all our visible planets all lined up. Now, the idea of them being all lined up, quote unquote, that's kind of the way it always is. So all of these planets, including things that aren't planets but that we call planets in astrology, like the sun and the moon, they move along the ecliptic. So the ecliptic, think of it as a path in the sky. It makes me think of the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, where we got a lot of this astrology from, actually, right? And the idea of this chariot moving through this river in the sky. They knew that all of these planets traveled along the same path, right? So where the where the sun rises and sets, the moon rises and sets, roughly, within 15 degrees, give or take. And all the planets do as well. So the fact that the planets were, quote, all lined up, also kind of normal. What I'll say here is that so them being all lined up across the ecliptic, normal. We see now the way that this chart is showing this, the way that the sun and the moon were below, and pretty empty sky below the horizon just after sunset, but very, very active up here, right? All the planets that were visible were there. Let's just go through them one more time before I move on. I believe many of these were visible. So we have Saturn, Venus, Neptune. This is the North Node in Chiron. Don't worry about that. Uranus. This is the midheaven. Don't worry about that. Jupiter and Mars. What I will say, astrologically, this isn't crazy significant. What we notice more is when a bunch of planets are really together in a house. We call that a stellium, when we have 4 or 5 or more planets all together in one part of the chart. And that is coming up. So let's go ahead a little bit, and I'll show you an example of, let's go to even the end of February. This is something that I'm covering in the horoscopes that I'm working on right now for February. Okay, look at this new moon in Pisces at the end of February. These are all planets in Pisces. They actually had to extend the diagram of the chart in order to make them all fit, right? We have the moon and the sun. That's how we know it's a new moon, because the moon and the sun are together. Saturn, Mercury's here by now, the North Node, Neptune, and it's also significant that Venus is right here in the early degrees of Aries. Venus is actually doing a retrograde thing and will come back through, but what's so significant about this sort of March and April that we're moving into is just how much is going on late degrees of Pisces, early degrees of Aries. So all of those planets are within that constellation in the sky, right? We were talking before about the way the sky looks and how this is below, this is above. Well, there are also constellations in the sky, right? That ecliptic, across the ecliptic, is the whole zodiac. And so when the planets fall all together within one sector of that zodiac, it feels really significant. And it's extra significant because it's the end of Pisces and the beginning of Aries, so it's the end of the zodiac and the beginning of the zodiac, right? So that makes it even more significant. But in terms of the planetary alignment, should we go back to today? In terms of the planetary alignment that we had last night, I hope that people did go outside and take a peek. It's always really, really cool to see these things, and huge fan of going out there and actually looking up at the sky. It's really a way to connect with the planets and just connect with the chart. We start to really get a sense for this kind of stuff when we're looking at astrology, because you can see here, oh wow, all of the planets are in the night sky and the sun and the moon aren't. So we're going to have a lot of visible planets along the ecliptic. I don't think that this is quite as significant astrologically as you might think. And I think they're making a little bit more out of it in a way than is necessary, because it is something that happens, fairly often. At the same time, a huge fan of anybody going out and looking at the sky, checking out the planets, and it is pretty cool the way pretty much everything's above the horizon after dark. But yeah, astrologically not super significant. Showed you that visual of something that was. I'm just checking my comments real quick. It's so nice to see everybody. Good morning. Hi, hi, hi. I'm doing well. I'm a little tired today. I didn't sleep that well last night. Maybe it was all these visible planets in the sky. But I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, yeah, that those skies for March and April really are very, very interesting. February is very interesting and, has some rare stuff going on, but March and April are especially uh, crazy. If you guys have any topics that you'd like me to cover, if you have any questions, I did get a couple questions about um, these planets that were visible in the sky, and that's why I chose to do that today. I'm here every day looking to build this community with and for you, so please feel free always to share those ideas. And yeah, great to see you this morning. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I'll be back again tomorrow.